What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I know I am. I want to talk about the Rams and how awesome their season was to this point and who I think their top 5 players were for this season. Before I do that, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. All right, so the Rams breaking down their roster and finding 5 guys that were going to make this list. I'm going to be honest, it was almost impossible. So if my list does not line up with what yours is, let me know what your list is in the comments. I want to know where people are at, what people think, and why they're putting certain players above certain players. All right. Now, this list is based on the entire season. So I'm going to tell you right now, there will be no Odell Beckham and no Von Miller. They're only there for about half the season. You can't really be on a team's top 5 players for a whole season if you're only there half the time. So with that being said, I want to get into it. Number 5, Andrew Whitworth. The man is a 40-year-old left tackle that is playing like he's still in his absolute prime. He only gave up 5 sacks. I think he only had 6 penalties, and this was on 926 snaps. That's insane for, being that age, putting up those kind of statistics where you're protecting your quarterback, you're covering his blind side. He's still really good in the run game. I'm honestly, it's like he does get some credit here for the age. I definitely do give him a boost for that because you just never seen a guy playing on the line at his age at this level. Like, he's elite. And I think it's been very, very key for guys like Matthew Stafford, Sony Michel, Darrell Henderson. Like, having a guy like him blocking and pushing is really, really crucial, especially when he's holding it down over there. You don't even got to worry about it. So Andrew Whitworth, you're at number 5. You deserve a lot of respect. I don't know if this is going to be his last season. If it is, he's had an insanely great career. I know Rams fans have enjoyed having him on the team for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, I forget. But Andrew Whitworth, you're number 5. You've been awesome this season. Number 4, my personal favorite player on this list, Jalen Ramsey. I think he's the best corner in the entire league, and he proves it week in and week out. He's Pro Football Focus's number 1 graded corner. He had 4 interceptions this season. He'd probably get more if people weren't so scared to throw at him, but I mean, there's a very, very good reason to not throw at him, as it's probably going to get picked off or batted down. It's probably not going to go your way. He only allowed 59 catches all year, which was basically equating to like 3.5 catches per game. And if you watch the Rams, they played a lot of zone. Most of those came in zones where he's kind of just sitting back. It's very, very rare that when he's in man-to-man that he gets beat or anything like that. And, going up against guys like top receivers, it's going to happen every once in a while. But he does a very, very good job of just being an island out there that, whoever he's covering is probably not going to do anything to you on this play. So Jalen Ramsey, best corner in the game, my personal favorite player on this list. I got him at number 4. He had 62 solo tackles. For a corner, corners getting that many tackles isn't as common because they, especially when they're not even getting thrown at most of the time. So him being able to not be scared and just run through people, like if you watch him, he's probably the best tackling corner in the entire league. It's amazing. It's like, if you're a corner coming up, that's who you should watch for your tackling drills, because he's a monster in there. Jalen Ramsey, you're number 4. I'll be like that. Number 3. And it's crazy for me to say this, but he's at number 3 on my list. And if you have him at 1, or if you have him at 2, honestly, I have no shade towards you. Aaron Donald. He's probably the greatest D lineman of all time, in my opinion. He's the best I've ever seen. He's probably the fastest I've ever seen off the snap, off the line. It's like if you've ever played Madden and been getting killed or destroying the other guy, and they just start lining up offsides every single time. So as soon as you snap the ball, your quarterback gets hit. That's kind of what it's like with Aaron Donald. It's like you snap the ball and he's in your face. It's so lightning quick that he's back there. He's a beast. He had what's labeled a down year by his standards and had 15 sacks as a defensive tackle that's getting double teamed most of the game. It's insane. And it's a down year is 15 sacks. That's how it's first ballot Hall of Fame, and it's nothing else other than that. I just think when you look at his game, along with the 4 forced fumbles that he had, when you look at his game, it's offenses have to go in and say, we have to put 2 or 3 guys on this one lineman, and we're going to hope that it stops him. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Absolutely mind-boggling how dominant he is, and how there's there's really no one that's ever been like him at his position ever. So I don't know. Aaron Donald, if you have him at 2 or 1, I ain't got no problem with that. But I got him at 3 just because by the standards, it was a down year for him. But yeah, if you got him at 2 or 1, I am mad at it. But 15 sacks is a down year. It's absolutely crazy. Number 2, and I'm probably going to catch some flack for this one, especially from one of my friends. I know that for sure. I got the quarterback, Matthew Stafford. So that probably lets you know who number 1 should be. And if you don't know number 1 is, you do not watch Rams games at all this year. Matthew Stafford, statistics this year were absolutely phenomenal. 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I think he was that missing piece in terms of getting this team over the top. We'll find out. There's a game tomorrow against the Niners for the NFC Championship. Well, hopefully he plays great in that. But from what I've seen from Rams fans this year, I think there's been a definite, like, they like him more than like Jared Goff. And I think it's just the arm talent, the sidearm plays, the experience, the toughness that he plays with. He legitimately there's an MVP case for him that you can make. And I think that is good enough for me to have him at 2. I just think when you look at his overall season, I'm taking like kind of every game into account here. I think he had like 3 or 4 either bad or like below average games. Those games were against the Vikings, the Niners, the Titans. I was at that game. He was horrible. And the Packers, he only completed 55% of his passes. I encourage you guys, if you disagree with that, go back and watch those games. He was not very good. Multiple interceptions. He was like rushing throws, missing throws. They were just 3 or 4 bad games. And I think if you're going to be a number 1 on this list, you can't have bad days if you're going to be number 1 on any team. It's hard for me to put anything like that. If you have Stafford at 1, honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. If you got him at 3, there's nothing wrong with that. If you got him at 2, like I do, awesome. But Rams fans, let me know where you put him for this season. Before I get to number 1, who everybody probably knows who it is, I got a couple honorable mentions. I want to do this for every team that I talk about in this way, just because it's when you're thinking about a top 5, there's always going to be 1 or 2 guys that are just barely off the list. And there's no shame in that, just being just shy. Because usually just means that you're probably really, really darn good too. But my first honorable mention is Leonard Floyd. He's a linebacker for them. I think he's a big piece, other than what Von Miller started to provide towards the end. I think he's a big piece to why their defensive pass rush is so good, because obviously Donald taking up a lot of the attention, but you still need somebody opposite him. Otherwise, it's going to basically void out a lot of Donald's impact if no one else is getting to the quarterback. So Leonard Floyd, he had I think it was 12 sacks on the year. And I think just like I said, the biggest thing is giving them that, that yang to Donald's yin, or it's just kind of, you just need somebody opposite him that's going to attract attention and beat and win battles. So I think Leonard Floyd bringing that pass rush off the edge is really, really important, because then it opens up. It's like a domino effect with Donald. It's like Donald goes first, then it's Floyd, then you get guys like Greg Gaines. And, it opens up the field for a lot of other players to make big plays. And I think Floyd is a very, very important piece of this team. I don't think he's not on my top 5, but he definitely deserves some love. He's on my honorable mentions list. The other guy I got on my honorable mentions list, I think he's a little bit underrated when you look at him in the grand scheme of things. But Brian Allen, he's the starting center for them. He only had 5 penalties, and he only allowed 5 sacks on 903 snaps. And I don't know if you guys know how hard that is to do, but being the center, you're literally at the point of attack every single snap. You're in charge of the ball, first off. If you screw up the snap, now people are going to be on you. Like, people were on him in that Bucs game because I believe this timing was off or something with Stafford, snapped it over his head. But overall, throughout the season, he's been a real anchor for this team, and being right in the middle of the trenches, they need guys that can move bodies, that can protect your quarterback. There's a reason Stafford only got sacked. I forget how many times Stafford got sacked, but it wasn't like he was getting killed 5-6 times a game, Joe Burrow style. So I think Brian Allen deserves a lot of love for that, because Rob Havenstein was a really, really good lineman. Austin Corbett did a really, really solid job. I had some thoughts for those guys, but I think the guy that is at the very front, the front of the line, kind of deserves a little bit more credit. Because I think if you have an elite starting center, your O-line kind of is in in position most of the time. You're usually okay if your center is elite. So I think Brian Allen, you're on my honorable mentions. If you guys got somebody else, that's perfectly fine. Let me know in the comments who it is and why you have them, and maybe not Brian Allen or Leonard Floyd. Yeah, I think he deserves some love here for, you know, stepping up and making a big jump this year. Number one, if you do not know who it is, oh my God, I don't know why you're watching this video, but Cooper Kupp. The guy was a flat out beast this season. He probably had statistically at least the greatest season by a wide receiver ever. I mean, 145 catches, 1,947 yards, and 16 touchdowns. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And I wanted to put him number one on this list because partially I think he's always had this talent. And this is a credit to Stafford here. I don't think he had the quarterback in the past to just push him just slightly over to where he's getting the opportunity to show this talent. There's the game against the Bucs in the playoffs. It's literally like a 60-yard bomb down when you need one at the most critical time ever. And he burns his guy and gets open for it like he has all season long. It's the clutchest play of the season thus far. It's a great throw by Stafford, which that deserves a lot of credit. But, you know, you got to win battles as a number one receiver. And I don't think anybody saw this coming. Personally, I don't think if people did, he would have certainly been going higher in fantasy drafts and stuff like that. And there would have been a lot more buzz around him before the season. So honestly, it really caught me off guard. For the first few weeks, I was like, he'll probably simmer down a little bit. And then he just never did. Absolutely never did. Dude was just 10 plus catches a game, basically, you know, over 100 yards a game, a touchdown basically every game. He's absolutely fantastic, possibly the greatest season by a wide receiver ever. And I think that's why he deserves to be number one. When you have possibly the best season ever at your position, you can't be 5, you can't be 4, and you can't be 3, and you can't be 2 unless, like, if you're number 2, that means whoever number 1 was had like the greatest season ever at like quarterback, most likely. So I think Cooper Kupp deserves a lot of love. Rams fans, I know you guys love this guy. Everybody, I've never met somebody that didn't like Cooper Kupp, like as a football fan or anything like that. He seems like a pretty likable dude. And, you know, you just look at those yards. He almost had 2,000 yards. Almost had 2,000 yards. I know Megatron. I don't know if he eclipsed it. He might have eclipsed it, or he was like really close one year. Megatron's the best receiver I've ever seen. But Cooper Kupp's season this year, definitely up there. And statistically, it's hard to argue against him. I don't know. Where do you guys have him? If he's not at 1, there's no way he's lower than 2. If he's lower than 2, I need you to go take a drug test because you're on something, and you know you gotta figure that issue out. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, fantastic season, number 1 receiver in the entire league this year. Stafford's favorite weapon, and we're gonna see what he does tomorrow or tonight or whenever you're viewing this video. We'll see what he does against the Niners. I expect another big game. Dude's an absolute monster. My top 5, just to kind of re-wrap it up for you guys. Number 5, I had Andrew Whitworth. Number 4, Jalen Ramsey. Number 3, Aaron Donald. Number 2 was Matthew Stafford. Honorable mentions were Leonard Floyd, Brian Allen. There's some other guys you could definitely throw in there. And then number 1, the great Cooper Kupp. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it. All right, so I'm done here. I'll be making another one of these videos pretty soon here. Yeah, I'm done. Peace.